welcome to Salubrious Skin with Dr Irene. Today I wanted to go through what to expect if you're having a cosmetic acupuncture facial. And the reason why I thought this might be a great idea is because I've had loads of calls inquiring what this actually entails and what are the benefits and why do the benefits happen? What is it specifically am I doing that create that desired outcome? So first of all, if you haven't heard of cosmetic acupuncture, basically there are different forms of cosmetic acupuncture, and every practitioner might choose different tools or different points to treat their patient. And I've certainly evolved my treatment over the last 10 to 15 years that I've been doing this. And of late, I've really adopted the philosophy of acupuncturing the trigger points. So I'll go through that specifically today, but there are other methods that you can use during an acupuncture facial. So first of all, I cleanse the skin, and it's important to come in with clean skin with no makeup. But in addition to that, I also cleanse the skin because it just makes sure that the skin is ready for the needles to be inserted. The next step is I actually use the jade roller. Now, you've probably heard about the jade roller. It's very much in social media. I see posts on it on Instagram on a regular basis. Now, the jade roller, the reason why it's used, and this is exactly what it is. So this one has two ends on either side, which one small and one large. And basically the purpose is that the jade stone is always cold. Despite how hot it is outside, it's actually always cold. And when you're rolling this on the face, you can feel it's icy cold. And what that does is gets the blood circulating. And so it really is a nice way to start a treatment. You basically go everywhere. Then you can get the smaller end and go around the eyes like that. And it's great for lymphatic drainage. And obviously doing it on myself is not great because I'm using the camera as a mirror. But, obviously need to be careful of poking someone's eye out. And that's why it's best to, if doing it on yourself, using a mirror. And the other thing is it also, like I said, lymphatic drainage, but also preps the skin for the needles ahead. And what we want to do is make sure that the needles will be as responsive as possible. So this is a step we use prior to the needles to get the best outcome. So after we do the jade roller, like I said, that's to prep the skin and also encourage lymphatic drainage. I use a gua sha tool. Now, where have I put my gua sha tool? Somewhere around here. Where have I put it? Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is a gua sha tool. And as you can see, it's got the curved edges here. And these are all actually for gliding over certain areas of the face. So as you can imagine, doing this, and it's very gentle. You might have seen things on the internet that's quite vigorous. You don't need to be, because what we're wanting to do with this is, again, encourage lymphatic drainage. And when you can encourage lymphatic drainage, you reduce the puffiness in the face. And also you can erase wrinkles. Now, to erase wrinkles, you might want to be a little bit more intense with your pressure, but our needles kind of work to erase the wrinkles. So I don't like to go too intense with the gua sha tool, not trying to encourage any bruising, but if you've got wrinkles all along here, you can literally just erase them that way. That's how it works. Now that's a scar I've got here, so that's nothing I can do about that. I can certainly put some needles in there, but the gua sha tool is not going to do that. But what you do, you are left with a bit of redness in the face. Okay, so you do both sides, and you take your time in doing that. It's great to also gua sha under here. Oops, there goes the earpiece. Now, you're actually seeing me today with no makeup because my intention was to actually needle myself in front of you. I'm just going to grab a tissue. But it's very hard, as I said, when you're doing it in front of a camera. See, I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to show you where we put the needles in so you can be aware of what is actually achieved by inserting those needles. So, so that's the gua sha tool. So cleanser face, jade roller, gua sha. It doesn't really matter which one's first, which one's second. I usually do the jade roller first, and then I'll do the gua sha tool. Then I also use a derma roller. And again, with the derma roller, there's needles in. And the reason why I do this, sorry about that. The reason why I do this is because you are causing micro traumas in the skin. And this is also occurring when you're putting needles in. But when you're using a derma roller and rolling it all over the surface of the skin, you are going to encourage more collagen and elastin formation. And that's just the body's own physiological response to the micro traumas. And the reason is because when there's a trauma that happens, the body will start to regenerate to heal it. And on the face, forming collagen and elastin to heal it is what is instigated by the trauma. So I use the derma roller. Some practitioners don't use a derma roller. I prefer to use it. The other reason why I also do it is because I use a lot of skincare during my treatments. If you are aware of our skincare, it's Salubrious Cosmeceuticals. Our anti-aging range does include cosmeceutical ingredients. Other ranges don't. And I basically choose the products that are based on the person's skin. So if someone's coming in with acne, I'll use the acne range. If someone's got sensitive skin, I'll use a sensitive range. And if someone's coming for mature or dehydrated or damaged skin, then I'll use the anti-aging range. So based on what the person's requirements are, I'll use that product. Now, as I said, with the derma roller, you basically go all over the face as you do with the jade roller. And I'll show you. Now, I'll tell you about different sizes. Now, I know there's some people I've seen online that do use a quite a large gauge needle, and that's because they're working on scarring or something like that. Obviously, if someone had scarring on their face, we would use needles. We don't use the derma roller to do that. The derma roller I have here is a 0.5, and that's plenty to initiate the response you want. Because the objective of the derma roller is to cause micro traumas, to initiate collagen and elastin, to get increased absorption from the skincare that you're using during the treatment and at home, promote circulation, create a bit of redness and blood to the surface to get that healing process happening, and also to improve texture and complexion. So that's really what we want to achieve with the derma roller, and the 0.5 is perfectly acceptable for that. And you basically start from the bottom to the top. You just start one side and then you move on to the other side. So I'll open up this one and show you how it's done. Now, you can go firm or you can go a little bit more gentle. Now, the other thing is you can use a 1 millimeter. I also do use a 1 millimeter in my clinic, and that is really based on individual requests. I don't necessarily use it for the first time because you do get some bleeding and some people don't like the bleeding. And so essentially what we do is whatever's most comfortable for each person. So always a 0.5. If someone says, you know what, Irene, I can really go for a larger needle if you want, I will apply more pressure first because you can always apply more pressure before going to the larger needle, and then we can go to the larger needle. Now, I know there's some salons that do skin needling and their objective is a little bit different to ours, but don't forget, with acupuncturists, we will insert needles in, and that's what we're trained to do to get the result we want. So we don't necessarily need to go crazy with the derma roller. So this is a 0.5. I don't know if you can even see that, but they're very small. So essentially, if you're doing this for yourself at home, like I said, make sure you clean your skin. I did clean my skin before I started this video. So make sure you clean your skin. And all you need to do is roll 5 times. This will be interesting. Okay, so let's start from the bottom. Make sure the ear pieces stay in. And you just roll. So it's just a prick. So it's not painful at all. Now the needles we put in are going to be much deeper than what these needles go in, because I'm actually putting it into the muscle. So again, people don't comment about being painful. Now I obviously have those here that I want to work on. So I'll roll it over. Now the worst bit that I hear about, I'm a little bit desensitized. I love needles. But the upper lip is quite uncomfortable, but you just bite your upper lip and roll over. Okay, and the other area that's painful is a forehead, but again, make your way up. Now, you can't go inside the supraorbital ridge here, so you can feel your bone, and you might think, well, I want to get to my wrinkles. How can I get to my wrinkles? You just pull the skin down and roll over it, okay? So as you can probably see a little bit, my right side is a lot more red. I'll keep going until I get nice redness in the patient's skin, because I want to make sure that everything is going to get penetrated, both with the skincare and with the effect of the skin. So I said 5 times, but you can go more than that. So you can really see the difference on my right side. It's actually quite nice. It's quite massaging. Like I said, it's not really meant to be painful. I'm causing micro traumas in my skin. Obviously, you can see the micro traumas because the redness is coming up. So you don't need to go crazy. Obviously, I don't have any acne scarring. I certainly do have larger pores that I need to work on, which this is something that's going to work on that. But I don't have any acne scarring. Now, when you've got acne scarring, yes, I understand you'd want to go larger. But as acupuncturists, we've got tools that are called needles, and we can actually do that. So we don't necessarily have to go heavy with this. We can actually do the needles more strategically around the area instead of the entire face. So 0.5 is what I'm using. It's comfortable, it's not painful, and obviously causing the redness in the skin. Now I'm not left-handed, so I won't do it for too long on this side. But I usually use my right side, right hand. Now that is a bit scratchy, that one. And around the nose here. Now, as you can see, I've got some melasma, which I have been using my luminescence, my recently formulated, just a recent formulation that we've just changed it. It's got Giga White and other herbal ingredients. And it certainly has reduced, but obviously using the luminescence after I've done this is great, because I'll get more absorption of those ingredients. Okay. So I'll just finish up now, because I think you get the idea of it. Okay, so the skin's nice and red. So the next step is the needles. And the needles is actually strategically placed on muscle trigger points. And what that actually means is there are certain muscles here. You can feel them. We've gone there, there. We've also got a point up here, which is actually an acupoint called gallbladder 14. We often use a lot for temporal headaches. Then we move down to here. So what these do are relax the muscles. And in actual fact, these are the locations used for Botox, for evening out the forehead. And what Botox does is actually relaxes the muscle. It doesn't erase the wrinkles. And obviously it's recommended to people who don't have very deep wrinkles or lines, because obviously if the deep wrinkles are there, despite you relaxing that muscle, the wrinkles are going to be shown. So that's why we find a lot of millennials using the Botox, and basically a lot of them are using cosmetic acupuncture as well. And that's because you can actually relax those muscles. So what I said was, there, you can feel the muscle there, put them in, and that works on this region here. Then we've got this region here that typically you can't put Botox in because it's all about lifting and filling. So what fillers would be put into here. But we use our needles to relax the muscle, and you actually can plump up the face. So we use that point there. We use underneath the cheekbones there. And then the other lifting area is the third part of the face. Now there's on the masseter muscle, which if you clench your jaw, you can feel your masseter muscle. There are 2 points there. So we put needles in there. Now if you come down here, you can feel a little ridge under here. Where is it? It's very hard. There we go. So we just put needles there, which helps with lifting the jowls here. Now, I should mention actually that we can also lift the eyebrows, and there are 3 points. Well, we do that one already, but there's an additional 2 points we can do that we actually can lift the eyebrows. That's called Yu-Yao, and that's another point there, which I've actually just forgotten the name. So we can do that, and also with gallbladder 14. So as you can imagine, you pin these areas back and you get some lifting from that upper lid. So that's basically it. So we've got those needles here. We've got this one's for relaxation. A lot of people have the furrows there. Obviously the dermaroll is great for that. So you can go over that. So we put the needle in the middle. We also work on that. Looks quite different in there. So there, you can feel that. And there, we've got those ones there. And then for eyebrow lifting, we've got those ones there. And then for the second part, we've got just under the eyes, straight down there. And then we've got those ones there. And that sculpts that area. And then we've got the 2 in the masseter muscle. And then we've got these. Now, I did fail to mention the additional ones are underneath here, which are also meant to help with lifting jowls. So we've got here and here. And that's it. That's all you do. You put those needles in and you leave them in for 25 minutes. And for some patients, I'll put the LED light on, which is beneficial. Again, if it's acne, they've got the blue light. If it's anti-aging, they've got the red light. And what's the infrared? And there's an infrared light, which is obviously for pain, so I'm not using it for cosmetic. And then we remove all the needles and I put some drops of youth on because that's our anti-aging serum. And then put the day cream, the anti-aging day cream. and give them a care plan to do at home. And ideally, the best case scenario is 2 to 3 times a week. Worst case scenario is once a week, and usually for 12 treatments. So you can either do your 12 treatments over 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So you can either do it 4-week, 6-week, or 12-week. You don't really want to stretch it out longer than 1 a week, because acupuncture has a cumulative effect. So when you're able to do the acupuncture on a regular basis, you get a better outcome. If you come every 2 weeks, you're not going to get the same desired effect, and it's probably useless. You're better off waiting to when you are available to come every week. It's almost like, what's the point of spending time and money on something that's not going to give you the results that you're looking for? So that's pretty much it. That's a cosmetic acupuncture session. It does go for a block out an hour, so I can do the consultation, put the needles in. There are also points done on the hands and legs. That's really just to help with general well-being and to maintain the effects of the cosmetic acupuncture over a longer period of time. And then, as you do it weekly, come in for a review, do the needles, have a rest for 25 minutes, and then you're off. And once you wait the 25 minutes, that redness settles quite a lot. With the skincare, that settles as well. And so your face just looks glowy and moisturized. It doesn't look like you've had any procedure. And the most important thing for you to know is that people won't necessarily know that you're doing this. A lot of people are quite discreet. They don't like to be known that they're doing anything for their appearance. So often people have told me that the feedback they get is, oh, it looks like I've been on holiday, or what are you doing? You look so rested, that sort of thing. It's not like, wow, this person has had plastic surgery. And funnily enough, I was at an event a couple of weeks ago, and I was showcasing skincare at this event, and I had a lady say to me, oh, well, I can tell that you don't do any plastic surgery because your face doesn't have that look to it. And I said, certainly not. I don't know how my body would react with injecting things like that in it. So haven't even considered it. So that's the other thing. You want to make sure you look like yourself, just, the most healthiest version of yourself, and, just slowing down the aging process as opposed to stopping it. We can't stop it. And it's important to eat well and live well in addition to what you're doing topically, because it all comes from the inside. We can speed it up or we can slow it down. And if we eat well and cleanly and live a happy, healthy life, and if we're going through stress, that's life. We all individually have our circumstances that do lead us to have some sort of emotional response to it. We're not robots, but it's all about the management of those emotions and how we deal with it. So if you're interested, drop us a line, or if you've got any questions, please let us know, and I'll be able to help you with answering any of those questions. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time on Salubrious Skin with Dr. Irene.